Okay, welcome to what we're calling at first the countdown stream because it has not yet dropped as far as anyone can tell, although we're hopefully there soon. Now, not everything drops exactly at a specific time. Um, I've seen updates come at a variety of times. They've done some early in the morning, late in the afternoon. And so we don't know for sure. They didn't say what time it was going to be available. So we're just going to talk. I've got the chat nice and big on the screen so people watching this later can follow along. And then once it actually pops up in the App Store, then we're going to actually download it, see how long that takes. We're going to install it, and we're going to open it for the first time on the stream. And hopefully the computer doesn't just crash. And so that's gonna be awesome. But we don't know. So we're hoping that it's going to come at around 12 minutes. I mean, that would be the ideal time. And yet, if it goes like an hour from now, we're going to pause the stream at some point and then start it back up when it finally does come. So far, I'm just enjoying everybody's comments. I love the conjecture process. I love trying to, sort it out and talk about it. There have been people commenting all night long on videos saying, it's the 13th here in Iceland. Why hasn't it come? And so that's just the way it works. It all revolves around Cupertino in California. Right? It all revolves around Apple's timeline. And so once again, we just sit and wait a little bit. And there we have it. So every once in a while, I'm just going to hit the refresh here. It won't always show up in your update area. I've noticed this when it's rolling out that sometimes you have to just, click into the app itself and it'll be there if it is available. You can see on my screen, it's not currently available. And so what I want to do is everybody who's watching, let's hedge some bets. Everyone put down, aside from the things they announced, right? We know the session musicians and the stem splitter, and there's some clues to the library changing on the images that they posted. It looks like the library browser from the iPad version, so maybe we're getting a new browser. What, if you had to guess, would be the features that are added that we don't know about? So everyone put down in the chat the one thing that they're hoping that it will be, and then we'll see who's right or wrong. Obviously, we'll make a little list here, a mental list. Thanks everybody for joining. Looks like we have a good chatting group happening. Lots of people's names I recognize and a bunch of you who I don't. They already have their own auto-tune, HRBGHD, and so I doubt that we're going to get something different than what they have, unless you're talking to somebody else. Let's see. We are going to probably this afternoon do the read through of the release notes, unless they're really easy. Sometimes they don't actually put the release notes up the minute that the release is available. And so what we'll do is we'll do all the other stuff and then take a break. And this afternoon or evening, I will do another stream where I go through all of the release notes. So we'll do that. Someone is saying in the updates tab, let's see, recent updates. Reload page. Okay, cool. So there is a refresh. We'll try in both places. So it says, someone pointed out you can go to the updates page and just do Command R to reload it and it refreshes it. Maybe that'll be cool if it works. But so far I don't even see the page changing. But so we'll do it in both ways. We'll just see. I'm not really expecting anything this very second. I think it's funny that when I type in Logic, it gives me the full Logic Pro X. Obviously, a bunch of people are searching for it with X, even though they dropped the X some time ago. But, it's algorithms, so intelligent. And we also will look at least at the third-party plugins I have. I don't have them all, but we'll look at the ones I do have. In theory, because the audio unit, protocol, packaging, system, coding, whatever, that's all part of the operating system. And so while Logic could certainly break it, the best guess is that right off the bat that everything that worked in your previous one will work in the new one until there's a new version of OS for Mac. So Mac OS. Once that gets updated, then we no longer know anything. And so that's when third-party things are most often actually broken. Let's see. Command R. Yeah. So Procore is hoping for a track list in the piano roll. Sweet. Elvis is wondering how many or how good the stem split will be. And maybe better than Serato. I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out. Travis is wondering how the session player, keys player works with complex jazz improv, and it won't. I guarantee that that's not the priority of that particular tool. Let's see. Yes. Good comments. Let's keep them going. We're just going to keep checking this every once in a while, even though I know you can Command R to reload the page. That doesn't always seem to, I don't know, we'll find out. So we got another 5 minutes before the hour hits. And at that point, we'll check a little bit more aggressively for a few minutes. And then if it's a rollout and where I'm at is a slow rollout, then maybe some of you will actually get it first. Gilled's hoping for a FabFilter Q3 like EQ. I mean, that's one of the best EQs out there, in my opinion, in terms of software things. It's just so great. And Logic doesn't have anything like that right now. So that could be a really good thing. Justin saying maybe we have to wait for a little bit until the update comes. Yeah, I'm sure, probably. Jeroen says, I haven't heard. So the only clue we've gotten in the last little while was when Apple hired away that guy from UAD. And so we don't know if something is going to come from that particular hiring and what that'll mean. But I'm hoping that will lead to something, not just bringing somebody in the outside and making them do exactly what we've already been doing on the inside. And so maybe there was a specific reason that hire took place. There wasn't a lot of details at the time. Let's see. People talking about Melodyne. Yeah, Melodyne's great. I think Flex Pitch is really good, but Melodyne does a couple things. The direct node access, I think is that the DNA stuff that they have where they can take polyphonic material and actually isolate each of the things and tune them individually. It was never like so good that you could like retune a guitar and have it sound exactly like the original guitar was in tune. Who knows? I also have my iPad here charging up, and once that, we'll be checking on there as well to see if there's a difference in the release time. But I'm more interested to see what updates, if any, they do with the iPad remote, because that would be interesting. Justin's talking about something I've heard a lot about over the years, Ghost Notes, just like FL. And I get it because I've used FL. I've done back in the day. I did a bunch of training courses about FL Studio, and I do like the Ghost Notes on there, but I don't need them in Logic. It's not something that breaks my workflow. Let's see. Mark is saying something I like about the Adapt Tempo. That could use an upgrade, I think. I think they released it and it's kind of improved with each of their subsequent versions, but overall, I think that there's room to grow. And if they really want to do this with these session players that they're calling AI, then perhaps that's part of it right there, is with that tempo analysis and implementation. Jim is giving us a good PSA. Don't forget to back up your current Logic version. On this computer, I'm not going to, because I'm not looking back. But I have a number of places where this is going to be fine. If it crashes the whole thing, I'll reinstall tonight and pretend like I never did it. Question about the iPad version. iPad version is paid for separately. It's only subscription. So if you don't have the iPad version currently, then you'll need to get the subscription. If you do have the current subscription you're paying, then it just keeps on running. You'll download it. It won't be a new cost or anything, but it'll still be the $49 something a year and the $4 something a month. Huge love back to Vietnam. Sweet. I'm a little bit slower on the comments than are on the screen, but thanks everybody for joining. Let's see. What are our current numbers? Okay, we got a couple hundred on here. Perfect. It's a good group. Let me check again. We're almost at the hour. And at the hour is when I'm expecting, hopefully, some people start to see it. And if we have enough people on here, you don't have to download it or install it, but I'm hoping you'll at least, wherever you are, check to see, and we'll see if we can figure out a pattern for when it's coming and who it's coming to first. That would be cool. So we'll just do that a little bit, starting in about a minute or two. Everyone just start looking. You don't have to install it, but please do check to see if it's on your system, because then we'll have a sense. And I'll pull up my iPad in a second. So the Command R refreshes your page, but I don't see any evidence of it actually refreshing. So maybe it's doing it just when there is something. So I'll just do it manually for now, because that's my favorite anyway. So we're right on the time, and of course, nothing has changed, but that's okay. Do let me know if you're on there, if you see anything changing in yours, and we'll see. Nothing from anybody so far. I'm not surprised. This could be one of those things where, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it and pretend like we know. Somebody knows. We just don't. I mean, they could be like, we're going to do this at 1 p.m. or California time. We're going to do this late in the afternoon, California time. I mean, they could have made any change that they wanted to the timeline. And so we're just guessing right now and talking and conjecturing, but checking all around the world, it looks like. Man, some of you are up. No, not too late. It's not too late over there yet. Maybe in, let's see, who was it? In Vietnam. What time is it in Vietnam? Somebody said that they were there. Let me know what time it is. I don't want to look it up, but some of you in California, the motherland of Apple, right? Oof. Okay. Let's keep checking this thing. I don't know. We're going to just let it go for a little bit. And then if we go, we're going to talk and conjecture and make up fake rumors about this all. I have some questions prepared that I want to get your input on. But if it goes an hour from now and it's not out, then we're going to pause the stream and we'll come back this afternoon. I'm not expecting it to drop on the very second, although they could have. I am curious to see uh, if anyone does get it in the next little bit, and we'll see if they're rolling it out in some way. But so far, nothing. Okay, here's the question I want to ask everybody while we're looking at this. What if they come out with a feature? Which feature would get you this morning to quit using Logic and switch to a different workstation? What is that thing? What's the breaking point for all of you? Put it in the chat. I'm curious. What is it that if they did, that you would say it was too much and you would walk away? I'm curious what everybody would put on for that answer. Tall Genius said the thing that probably most people are thinking, the subscription, if they made it subscription based, that they would walk away. I don't know if I disagree with that. And they're really smart not to have done it in this case. I feel like that's a generational change, meaning if they're going to do it, they need to wait until most of us who are using it now are like towards the end of their careers, right? I don't feel like they should do that right at the beginning. They've already introduced subscriptions now in the iPad version, so people are slowly getting used to it. But the Logic version, which forever since it was released, has never been subscription, that's kind of hard. So, and Jay Light says if they make Mike Tyson sound like Katy Perry, then they're going to quit. Okay, awesome. Oh, by the way, I should look there. Got my iPad, and I'll look on that version. I wonder if there's any chance that they're going to do these, like the iOS or iPadOS version first, right? So let me check. Let me refresh that one, the App Store on my iPad. And I have a lot of things to update on it, but that's not one of them. Ooh, there's some good updates I need to do. I haven't been using my iPad as much of late for a variety of reasons. Of the updates today, it's not on there. Okay, cool. So we'll keep that looking as well. Let's see. The waveforms has always been an issue in Logic. There was a time when you were recording that it was like a huge delay in drawing the waveforms. Really problematic when you're trying to actually make sure that you're listening, but also seeing if there's clipping or other things. Sam's asking if anyone has seen what's new notes for 11 yet. No, they have not been released. Another question, which Mac features are you missing on the iPad that prevents you from moving to the iPad? That's a great question. There are several. One of them would be all the third-party plugins that I use on the Mac that just nobody's ever made for the iPad version. And then there's control surfaces don't work. If I could set up my iPad and hook up like the CS12 from Nectar, I would maybe switch to it. They don't do anything with surround sound or immersive audio, which sometimes I do have to use. So there's a few things. Score editor. There's no score editor in the iPad version, which I don't know why. Maybe they're actually going to rework it at some point. There's some writing on the wall with that. I've always wondered if what they put on the iPad version is a sign of what they perceive as the most important features. And so they just focused on that, but I don't know. It's a big question mark. Okay, let me hit refresh on this real quick. Okay, still not. We don't know if it's using all of the M cores. That was a question that just went by. We'll find out. But I'm on Mac Studio Ultra with the M1, and so I'm not going to have that issue personally. Some people will have to tell us. Um, let's see. And Sidharth says, sucks that Intel versions don't get the stem splitters. Yeah, in one side, I understand that they can't just keep on making everything for everybody. On the other hand, there are some Intel machines that are pretty awesome still that aren't going to be able to do some of the stuff. Oof. Wow. Mr. Norway made a lot of comments there all at once. What Symphony Studios is saying, wish they add the MIDI out. We do have lots of MIDI out functionality. Which one are you talking about? Yep, so far we're not looking at the update, just FYI. We're still being chill and waiting, but we'll keep talking for a little bit, and then, like I said, I'm going to go for about 52 minutes more, and then we'll take a break if there's nothing, and then we'll come back. I've saw some things that said 3 p.m. Eastern time, but I don't know if that was based on actual knowledge or not. I do know that things don't always come when we think they're going to come. So we'll see what that means. But I'm going to keep on checking every once in a while here. Sounds like subscription model. If anyone, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the subscription thing. Now, granted, the subscription we saw with the iPad, and you'll see this in Apple's documentation for subscription models. They recommend apps use subscription models. And if they do that, then they recommend doing regular updates to help the consumers, the users, feel like they're getting the value out of it, right? And so it's ironic then that they released Logic Pro for iPad, made it a subscription model, and then only update it like once or twice a year. So they're not giving us a lot of value for that subscription model. I think it was a mistake to make it a subscription model, partially because if they're going to update it so infrequently, but people are going to pay monthly or yearly, then what the heck? So one of the things I've heard, and I've already seen some people making comments about this, is with a subscription, they say you don't own it. Well, if you read the terms of agreement that you make when you buy any software, you don't actually own any of this stuff anyway. And so it's just a different pay model. I get it that if you're like, say your credit card gets hacked, right? Say you get your credit card gets hacked, and then you have to like order a new one or something. You could actually have a disruption of your workflow for that period of time if the payment was about to be made. So you don't actually have full control over it the way you would if you just bought it out, like paid for it outright. I don't mind the subscription stuff personally, but I also, that could just be, exhibition of my privilege being able to pay for it every month and not having to worry about it. But you never know. Everybody has different feelings about it. Certainly some are stronger than others. I will say it feels weird to pay for anything Logic related, given how long it's been since I've had to do paid upgrade for Logic for Mac. And so that part feels interesting, how long that can go. Still nothing here. I'm sure we're going to have, at this point, it's just going to come any given moment. And so at that moment that we get it, everyone will freak out. I'm wishing it would be in the next 50 minutes so that way we can actually look at it and talk about it. I'm thinking, so people are still asking, when do we think it'll be? I'm guessing it'll either be in the next 50 minutes or it'll be this afternoon. And, update the Mac OS. We may actually have to do, now that you say that. But no, you shouldn't have to. Because, let me pull that off. If you're on an older version, which it works with, then you wouldn't have to do that. Checking for updates on my OS. There is one. I can't do that one right this moment if I'm on a stream, though. That would take a little bit. Okay, somebody else. Somebody in the group. If you will update to Sonoma 14.5 and then see if it shows up. That would be one of the obvious things. They often do that. And then we'll just interrupt the stream while I do that update and then come back afterwards. I just got it to update. I just got the update notification as well. So somebody tell me, once that's done, that'll be a good piece of information that if you update the Sonoma and see if anyone who's on the version before Sonoma if there's some sort of update that's not Sonoma related. But let's see. It is, it says on mine that it's 2.43 gigabytes for 14.5. Checking the comments. Okay, we'll have some people right back with some more information. So maybe that is something that I've seen happen on a number of occasions where you have to do the operating system first and then it triggers an update. And if that's the case, if you're on 14.5 and you have to then you can see the logic update. Then we should all be careful because it may have changed something with audio units. You never know. And so we got to be really careful if there's a system update as well as a logic update simultaneously. If with that being the case, you should all be terrified a little bit of updating if you have anything you need. It's not telling me what's in the 14.5 and the more info, but but that's always it's like the clues. Okay, so DJ Sampha is on 14.5. Logic is not showing as an update. Okay. Whew. And then Shay also says, we are a cult, and we're the best damn cult ever. So there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, maybe there is. I don't know. We're all slightly deranged, supposedly. Everybody know how to back up your version of Logic Pro? If you don't, there's lots of resources, but it's just like a folder with all the stuff. You can copy, put it on another drive, zip it up. I tend to, when I've done it in the past, I tend to make a copy and put it someplace, but leave the original one in place so that it has a place to update instead of just downloading the full thing. That helps with certain parts of the library. Yeah, well, like I said, we're going to give this another 45 minutes and then we're going to do that. Let me look. Let me see if the remote app has any sort of movement. It's like, which one is going to drop first? I'm curious about. I'm on my iPad here. Logic Pro for iPad first. No, nothing on the iPad either. And that goes for the remote as well. They're going to make us wait. Not my favorite, but that's what happens. So none of the three related apps are doing anything. How many of you are... Oh, I didn't mean to open it. Just opened it. Let's cancel that in a second. Hopefully it doesn't mess up my audio. Live streaming with Logic can sometimes be a pain in the butt. Let's quit it for now. Because it can hijack audio used in other places, even if you don't have it set up that way. It's number 1 on the charts for music in the App Store. Oof. So much excitement. Justin wants me to delete it and then see if it comes. That's not happening today. Not because it wouldn't perhaps work. Crappy Blonde says, sorry, dumb question. What mic are you using? I'm using this old SE Electronics USB 2200A microphone. It's a condenser. It was this trend that they were starting where it's a USB mic. I could plug a USB cable into it, but I also can do an XLR. And it's just one that I actually am going to be replacing this mic at some point. It's fine. It works okay, but it's a little sensitive with some plosives. It doesn't have a great windscreen built into it. Lots of conjectures about this. Let me just catch up on some comments for a minute. 10K Archive says, if Logic Pro for Mac will be subscription-based in the future, can you still use the version you bought with a one-time payment? You know what? Here's the problem. We don't have a lot of examples of software going from non-subscription to subscription in the Apple ecosystem. And so we don't know how that would look. But I'm guessing the last one that wasn't a subscription would still be able to be used. But as you can see, operating systems make Logic obsolete. Computers make Logic obsolete. And so, sure, that means you're going to be stuck on old tech forever. We don't even know if it's going to go subscription. The only clue we have is that Apple went subscription with Logic Pro for iPad. And so we'll see. I mean, a lot of other things are going subscription. Pro Tools, I think you can get both. You can do the non-subscription, but it's a pain in the butt. And it's a pain in the butt for universities who have a special educational deal with Avid. And it's been more difficult for us to get that sorted out. Anybody using Open Core Legacy Patcher? No, I'm not. Is anybody else? Maybe somebody else is. NKO wants to know if there's going to be an update for Ghost Notes. Man, I would like one of you who love these Ghost Notes, and I know what you're talking about because I've used FL Studio. What is the draw for that? What is it that you want from that? What is it you think you're going to get from that? That's what I want to know. Please, anyone know when I can record? No. Get a better interface, moi moi. Or use low latency mode, or don't put too many high latency things in your project when you're trying to record vocals. Reaper, I mean, there's so many. So if it goes to subscription, you're going to go with Reaper. Is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Because you could go with another DAW that has a lot of really great things in it, instruments and creative tools, and Reaper just doesn't have that. Yeah, it also could be a buffer size, as Mark says. Moi moi. Let's see. Making melody according to chords by using ghost notes. I mean, luckily you won't have to do that anymore with the session musicians in Logic. But all joking aside, I put up my notes in the score editor, a notation, and do it that way. So I don't think it's going to help me personally. But not everybody can read music fluently. So perhaps the ghost notes really would help. What are my thoughts on AI generated music? Well, it's here to stay for now. It's complex. I think money's involved, which means that we're going to get screwed. I don't believe that the music generated in Logic with these new musicians is going to be truly AI. I mean, AI, yes, in the sense of like machine learning and neural nodes and analysis and all kinds of stuff, but not in the sense that it's like impersonating humans. Let's see. Doo-doo-doo. Lots of good comments. A lot of conversation about this. This is good. Like I said, we're going to go another 37 minutes on this stream. And then if it's not out at that point, then we are going to take a break and come back around 3 p.m., which at that point would be, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would be in an hour for me after we quit. But we're going to keep on going for another 36 minutes, and we'll see what's going to happen with that. So you can use Logic up until it's like 13.5, Mac OS 13.5, which is the one before Sonoma. That's like 1.5. No, that's like one operating system ago, but not all the way to the beginning of that one. You'd have to be at 0.5. Core Gadget, somebody was just talking about that in the chat. That's actually a pretty cool thing. What would I do if I left Logic? Any of you who've been watching me for some time, what would your guess be that I would switch to as a workstation if I had to leave Logic? Or just what would your guess be, even if you don't know me? Studio One is definitely up there. And they just did a really cool release with all of the surround sound that I'd been missing. That was one of the things I'd missed from it. I've used Cubase Nuendo in the past. I really liked it. But it would be Reason if I had to leave it. Reason just because I really love the creative tools that are in Reason right now. I'd have to use another workstation anyway for all my surround stuff and spatial audio things. And so it would probably be a combo of Studio One and Reason. Those would probably be the pairing that I would do. Nuendo is terrific. I love Nuendo. It's really well laid out. You can tell. That's like a German company and they build it like a bunch of Germans. So everything is precise and orderly. And Cubasis on the iPad has always been really great. The iPad app, I've used that for some things. There is a new Reason coming out. Yeah, shortly, if it hasn't already. Reason 13 next month. So Final Cut update is already out. Is that true? Let me check Logic one more time. Nope, let's do Final Cut. If Final Cut has come out, then that's a sign. No, 4 months. You're lying to us. Or if it is out, it's means it could be rolling out someplace else on 14.5. Rasta, are you on 14.5 as well? Or Rishad, sorry. Oh, I see. Do do do. Yeah, I'm asking what Spielborough is asking. Now, it's not April 1st, at least, Exodus. If it was, then we should all be worried. Well, I don't see Final Cut. And I'm not on the newest version of the operating system, which may be what has to happen here. Oh, 13.6.6 has an update to 13.6.7. Erg. Well, we may have to take a short break while I update my operating system. Okay, what we're going to do is this. I'm going to pull the plug on this stream while I update Sonoma. And then in 30 minutes, I'll be back on the stream. So if you want to come back, that's fine. If you don't want to come back, then more power to you. But 30 minutes from now, I'm going to update Sonoma, and then we'll get the stream back up and running in 30 minutes.